Do we explain the framework of this bad boy or what?
Sure. Go ahead.
The Blast EPOS podcast.
Okay.
Currently titled Blast Push to Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Great name, first and foremost, I think.
You picked it.
And
you're like Obama putting a medal on yourself right now.
This podcast is sponsored by EPOS, the power of audio. Take your game to the next level with plug-and-play ease and multi-platform compatibility with the EPOS H3 closed acoustic gaming headset. Learn more at eposaudio.com/gaming.
Yo, Scrawn.
hello.
What's going on? You streaming?
Not right now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell your viewers you're not live. I'm going to rat you out.
Go ahead. I mean, I'll be streaming after this. That's what we do nowadays, right?
Yeah, because now there's a guilt thing involved. If you're not streaming, if you're not working, you should be.
What are you doing?
Yeah, why aren't you queuing Danger Zone?
Where are you?
Why are you playing games offline? Why are you playing single player games? Why aren't you playing Counter-Strike? Why do you like Valheim so much?
I streamed constantly and then I didn't for one night. And I have the evidence of a 5-bullet USPS ace. The first of my entire life 3 days ago, but the download is corrupt and I can't watch the VOD back, Mohan. So there's no clip.
I feel horrible, but you also deserve it. Like as a viewer, since you didn't do it on stream, I mean, whatever happens off stream basically doesn't exist. So
that's what it feels like.
All right. So give us the play-by-play. What exactly? How good was it?
So it's my best position ever.
Car on Dust 2.
No, wrong.
I don't know. Where
A
else?
site overpass CT side.
A pass. Okay.
You know that maze of angles inside of bathrooms?
Yeah.
So I'm peeking out party, 2 guys come over, make it look like you fall back, go back into it, boom, 1 tap over the shoulder, get the guy in the behind.
Right in the ass.
Dodge into the cover, fall back 1, peek out side door, douche, get him from the side of connector, go back into bathrooms, bap, another 1 tap. 3 bullets in at this point, right? Nobody's saying anything, but we're all thinking it. Oh, 5-bullet ace. Start pushing towards party, guy comes in from fountain, gadoosh. Now the pressure's on. I scream it. I said, let me get my ace. Come around the corner from party, find the last guy long. He's hiding in the corner because they're so damn scared. 5th bullet, 100% headshot accuracy.
Wow.
Not a single bullet missed. First time in my life. But there's no clip.
It's like the Yeti. Like everyone believes it exists, but no one's seen it. So doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like the Yeti.
I feel you.
Doesn't matter. You'll have to do it again. That's cool, right? You're good enough. You could just do it again.
Fingers crossed. What about you? How your game's been?
Oh, good. I've been getting DDoSed.
Right. For cheering.
I was co-stream the Fours versus Extra Salt to, support the new hope of NA. But I've never been DDoSed before on this. I got DDoSed
during your CSGO lounges.
Yeah, when I played on for where there was betting involved in my games, like 3 or 4 games, I got DDoSed in all those games because I was like a YouTuber and stuff. So like, I don't know where people get the IP, but at the same time, I can only imagine the amount of places they could get it if they wanted to try to find it. So I just imagine like 50 people have my IP, out there in the world, which is a little bit disconcerting. But yeah, I've never been I don't know how that happened. I mean, I'm not expecting you to give me answers here, but
it's not the kind of thing that I thought would get attacked, man. Just kind of wearing your heart on your sleeve,
right?
Going out there, and especially during such a heartbreaking outcome too, right? Like,
no
I feel like the result is torture enough, let alone the struggle to get through it. But
I guess it's because every map was so close. We had like 16-13, 16-13, 16-14. So the DDoSers didn't know if I was going to win or not. It was still a good day to be a North American fan.
Hands down, man. Today is also a good day, Mohan, because today's the day we record our first podcast.
No, we've never actually recorded a podcast. Wait, have we?
Nope.
Okay. I guess the only thing that we did was record a lot of time capsule interviews together, which are shorter.
And tech pauses, the endless amounts of tech pauses that end up feeling like podcasts.
Those are
sometimes.
Podcasts.
Yeah, I think so. They're just live.
Yeah. When aliens look back at hundreds of years into the past to explain where humans were at, that's going to be looked at as the original podcast.
I mean, I hope so, man. We put effort into it. Do we explain the framework of this bad boy or what?
Sure. Go ahead.
The Blast EPOS podcast.
Okay.
Currently titled Blast Push to Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Great name, first and foremost, I think.
You picked it.
And
you're like Obama putting a medal on yourself right now.
Yeah.
Love that name.
Love that name. Love this podcast. You guys heard this thing yet? So it's got an intro, and that's what we've done here. It's got a breakdown when we talk all things Blast. It's got some hot takes, some games, and just an overarching, general Counter-Strike theme.
Is it arching or arcing? Or are they both work? It'd be arching, right?
You'd think so.
I think I've been saying arcing. Sorry, that's just
overarching.
That's a caster problem. We all have these words that we say maybe slightly incorrectly or totally accurately and don't realize it.
We call them corn dogs around here.
I was spelling surprise. Yeah, those are called corn dogs because it's like you've been watching too much Trailer Park Boys or something. Like it's like you do these on purpose. And if anyone who's watching this podcast is allowed to know that sometimes he doesn't do it on purpose, but on the broadcast, anybody who watches the broadcast, we want them to believe that these are all done on purpose. But here's a bad one for me. This doesn't actually have to do with casting though.
Okay.
I'm bringing it back to the intro just for a second.
Go ahead.
I was spelling surprise with one R until I was like 22 years old.
SUP'Rise?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to call them eggcorns instead of acorns.
Like EGG?
Yeah, eggcorns.
Oh my gosh.
But I learned this from Machine on a cast actually.
What?
When you have like these, what we call corn dogs, like these moments that we're talking about, right? Like sayings that sound like something else, but that get mixed up commonly. Those are referred to as eggcorns.
Oh my God.
Because eggcorn and acorn is such a common one for the likes of people like me. And the beauty of casting, right? I think there's a lot of things you say incorrectly, or things that you mispronounce without ever realizing it until somebody has to hear you say it 100 times. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful for that, actually, to be honest with you.
I still get scared every time I'm about to say like could not care less or couldn't care or could care less.
I just don't say it at all to avoid it. Those are the two solutions. Either you fix it or you just avoid it.
Yeah. Gotta be couldn't care less, of course. Could care less. Like, yeah, everyone could care less. You thinking about it?
I still don't know which one is right.
Couldn't care less. Couldn't
care less.
Because if you could care less, then you like obviously
then you haven't bottomed out yet.
But like it's more surprising if you couldn't care less, right? That's more of a statement.
Because you're at rock bottom.
This is the lowest point of caring at which I'm willing to give. All right. Can you do the intro for the next segment?
For the very first segment, for the blast breakdown. Blast breakdown. Blast breakdown.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. Blast breakdown. First of all, like there's just too much news. There's so much news every day. It's incredibly satisfying and also terrifying at the same time. Like there are tectonic shifts in the news world of a Counter-Strike happening, by daily almost, right? With the amount of insane things that have happened. So where do we even what do we do here? Help me.
What do we do? I think we tackle the big one first.
Okay. Device.
It has to be the roster move.
Okay.
As an anecdote, right off of what you've said now with, this, I love how you say that, a tectonic shift in Counter-Strike. It does feel like worlds are moving. I don't know if it's always been like this. I feel like there was a lull in exciting news for a little while, but now it's dogpiling. At least that's where my mind goes. And Device leaving Astralis, Device joining NiP. You know what shocks me the most about this roster change, Mohan, is, just first of all, the magnitude of it, the fact that core has broken up. The only core to have attended every major, now just dispersing. But what really has taken me aback is the interview that the Device kind of put out right afterwards with this statement that there was no other team he would have considered. He didn't consider anybody else. NiP was at the top of the list. That's the only offer, that was his choosing. And then
just like, we exist.
Yeah, right. And he just closed the blinds on that window. But then additionally in the first NIP kind of like YouTube video where he's talking about like, you guys are levels beyond where I'm coming from in terms of practice. And I'm like, okay, I don't know at this point if they've already like started paying him enough to be like the PR representative, but
okay,
Device coming from Astralis to talk about, like, I don't know. I was so shocked by that statement in and of itself.
That's a great place to start. That was funny. I won't lie. I mean, he said that with a straight face, but I think, and apparently gla1ve liked all the tweets surrounding that statement or something, like to show that he was like kind of pressed about it. Which I don't know. I said on my stream, I was like, listen, if gla1ve is like truly angry about this one thing Device said, I'm sure I don't think there's any bad blood there. I believe them when they say that. And if he's truly pressed about that, like, how could you be insecure after everything that you've done? That like something like an offhand comment like that could actually bring the whole thing down. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Even though it was such a weird thing to say. I mean, seriously, like if you're gla1ve and you've literally won everything, like Device saying that you got lucky on a few different metas and 4 years of dominance. I mean, I don't know where that came from. Okay, here's where I thought. Okay, Device walks in, and because he's such a good teammate and such a good player and also recognizes how to make a good team work, he doesn't want to come in and have this effect of, I'm a god, treat me like one, because that won't actually improve the team. That'll improve his status or maintain his status, but that won't actually help his team win. But if he comes in and shows like some, I guess some insane level of humility, almost too much to the point that it almost sounds disingenuous, but then it at least allows for a situation where, if they genuinely believe him in some way, that like he is clearly here to learn and also to make something new, not make something else like Astralis, which I think is really important because like Hitchum, I guess like the CEO, the guy that Device was doing the interview with, was like, yeah, some of these guys might be a little bit starstruck. Like Device said something about ZTR, or like shouted ZTR out as like someone to watch for the future. Yeah, and now he's like his teammate. It's like, dude, Device could literally adopt this guy, even though they're not even many years apart, just because of how much of a fan he probably is, right? So, yeah, I think he knows he holds a lot of power, but he has to live and play with this team every day. He doesn't want to be, playing. He doesn't want to play an official sitting beside these guys, and then frickin' Rez is in a 1v1 versus gla1ve, and Device is sitting there thinking, Rez is thinking about me watching his screen right now and judging my every move. Like, he doesn't want that. That's not going to make the team better.
Yeah.
What he needs is for Rez to believe that Device believes in him and that trusts him and that they're actually good and that they actually have tons of their own potential. Because, like, I'm sure he, number one, doesn't want to be the IGL. He doesn't want to be the babysitter of the team. And he wants to be, he wants to have the freaking... he wants to walk into the stadium with the silk robes on, everybody staring at the whole roster and scared of everybody. He doesn't want a team that's literally just putting him up, like carrying him in on a chair, and just putting him in the spotlight to carry every single round, because that's not going to happen, and he needs to win.
I think you're dead on, and I think that you can take that exact same mentality about trying to just like humanize Device in a way as a teammate. And as somebody who's going to be a part of this team, and see that same logic applied to, I think, like the structure of NIP, right? You don't want to walk into this team and then also have them thinking like, whoa, this guy's coming from Astralis, and that's obviously leaps and bounds above us. No, you want him walking in and genuinely being, surprised with your work ethic, surprised with your strategy, surprised with your approach to prep. So I think it's really important and actually really cool that Device came out and said these things. And I don't know if I believe them. I really don't know, but no. I'm glad that he is already coming straight out the gate and trying to convince us that NIP's the best team. Like I do feel a bit of like, I feel more hype, more belief in NIP now, just because Device is coming out and, supporting it instantly. It almost feels like the Henry G Cloud9 thing. Like, I'm getting hyped to watch NIP play again, and it's just because of what Device is talking about.
Yeah. Let's hope it ends differently.
I'm sold. Sold. Yeah, right?
He said that they got, like, lucky on a few different metas, and he also said getting to the top's not even that hard, which is fine. That might just be his genuine experience. I mean, he got there early, so... But he said that, and then he said that Astralis, we weren't even doing things that great. Yeah, it was mental. It was actually hilarious. But he looked like he was being honest.
Genuinely. Yeah.
Somehow.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can't expect people to believe in you unless you believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And with such a huge decision, like not just, I mean, put Counter-Strike aside for a second. That's just a massive life decision. Like, to just leave behind that legacy. Like, I mean, Device could have ended his career with Astralis. They could have never done anything other than just kind of plug and play a couple other players. And that's why I respect this decision from Device, because it's like, okay, you're still hungry. We don't know where the psyche of Device is at. He could continue to try and succeed inside of the structure of Astralis, let those pieces work around him, and still probably be one of the most consistent players to ever touch this game. That I have no doubt he could do. This is where, of course, there's a little bit of doubt in my mind of like, is this truly going to work? And I love the fact that he put that there. That's what I have an immense amount of respect for this decision, because this could have such a huge payoff, and this could change the lives of the people that he's now believing in, within NiP. Like he could skyrocket the very player he highlighted as an upcoming star. I think that's awesome.
Now, to be fair to the outside perspective, which is kind of also like, why would you join NiP? Because like NiP are not their top 12, something like that. And if you look at any top 20 team, if Device wanted to join the team, someone would get kicked. Any single team in the top 20, I mean, they would all learn Danish and someone would get kicked if he wanted to. Seriously, he could literally move mountains just by saying he wanted to. And part of the reason he wants to play in Sweden is because he lives with his girlfriend there. So then there's obviously this, thought that, the convenience plays into it. Oh, NiP's a good fit, but also they're like, their office is right beside where he lives in Sweden. So it's like a very comfortable fit as well. So I'm sure there's the thought that there's something wrong. There's parts of this team that aren't perfect. Clearly the ranking doesn't show anything. They aren't a trophy lifting team right now. So there's so much to do. It's not the exact perfect fit outside of Astralis.
I always thought NiP kind of had that like Astralis light feel going on to them.
Sure,
like
Astralis light, yeah.
Like the Swedes,
like
the Swedes looked across the bridge, and they saw it working with Astralis, and they tried to do the exact same thing with a lot of young, talented Swedish dudes. So I can see this one working. I think there could still be pieces moved around, and I'm sure that with the convenience that you're talking about, the fact that he is so close to everything. That's the kind of stuff that's going to help him stick around. I think that's definitely what puts him into a 3-year contract in this instance, is like, if I'm Device and I can see my life put out ahead of me for 3, I mean, we know it well. In esports, you don't know what's around the corner. And every time you look around, it could be a 6-month period where you feel safe. It could be a 1-year period. It might just be 2 weeks. And in this case, man, he's got something that is the golden ticket of 3 years into your future. That this could still be where you're at. It's comfortable. But I don't think Device is somebody who gets like bogged down in comfort. Like, I don't think comfort means complacency in his case.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I agree entirely with you when it's like, this makes sense in terms of like the organization of his life. I want Device to have everything mapped out in front of him, because he strikes me as the type of person who's going to thrive in that. So I'm going to say that, like, in terms of team culture, this performance culture, that NiP are kind of trying to work with. And also, I'm super cool with Device having Threat behind him, coming from constantly. We know how much Zonic plays a part of Astralis and how much credit they give him. Dude, there's no doubting that Threat is a legend. And I think, like, again, to me, it really just strikes me as Astralis light. That's what Device has gone on to do. And if they can surpass the current Astralis, then oh man, that's such a storyline, like, just waiting to be written. So I'm right there. So while at the Blast Spring Showdown, Launders and I had a chance to catch up with a multitude of players. We sat down, we picked their minds, and one of those brains that we picked was very bulbous. It belongs to gla1ve. Now, in hindsight, there's been changes in Astralis' camp, and notable ones at that. So I think it's a good idea for us to just sit back and see what he had to say prior to all of these things happening. In hindsight, I kind of feel like those vibes were there.
gla1ve, how have you been? How have you been recently? Just talking about like where you're at right now.
I think it has been like a bit up and down for me personally. So if we go into the game, I think I've been doing really well in practice. I have had a hard time converting that into being a good player in official matches, being the player I want in official matches. I think I have too many off games right now. So if we look in the game, I'm like, it's a bit up and down for me, but I know that I'm close to getting back to my old form. If we go outside the game, I'm pretty happy right now because I'm going to become a dad in about half a year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, congratulations, first and foremost.
Thank you very much.
I think at Blast London at the beginning of 2020, I asked you in an interview, how important is aim in CS? And you said something like, it's like 80% of CS. Like you rated it really, really highly.
Yes.
Is that something that you could expand upon? Like why you think aim is so important, or why someone like you, I think is the question, who has been known for being such a great IGL specifically, even though you've always also been a great individual player. How come you rate aim over something like, strategy or positioning or something else?
Yeah, so I mean, everything combined is of course really important. Like you said, strategy, aim, positioning, how you use utility and stuff like that, your understanding of the game. But I would say if you want to get the furthest, like if you want to be the best player in the world, aim is the most important. Like the best aimer usually is the best player. And I think that's what you see. But you can't be the best player only with aim. That's for sure. But you need to have like one of the best aim if you want to be the best player. You're not going to be the best player in the world if you have a really good understanding of the game. You use your utility correctly. You position yourself really well, but you only have 80% of the aim that the best player has. So I mean, aim is extremely important, and yeah, you can do so many stupid mistakes, and it can save you if you have good aim. You can make so many mistakes in the game, but if you have the aim, you can still contribute to the team.
And if we tie that into where Astralis is right now, do you chalk up maybe some of the downsides, like you say, your own individual performance or the team as a whole? Or would you say like aim is a big factor, or is it maybe other things in combination?
I think there's more things in combination. You can never like point a finger to say it's only because of this, because it's not like we had like 100% good aim before and now we are down to 30%, right? It's like maybe we were like overall in the team we had really good aim before and now we have slightly worse aim. And some of the other players has gotten better. So we just get in some duels we just needed to win. We're losing them. And if that happens too much, then you're going to lose the games. But we also have games where we are really doing really well with the aim and the individual level is on point and people is killing everyone. So, I mean, it's not only because of aim, but it is a big factor. I think that the individual level is a bit too low at the moment.
As an IGL, is this a tough conversation when you try to figure out where a game went wrong or went right, and you have to analyze stuff? You've got to obviously be honest. Some of it came down to aim, some of it came down to other stuff. Does it make your life harder when you feel like it's an aim problem when you have to talk about it with your team, or is that something that you guys as a whole kind of understand when it's one problem or another?
Like all the time when we lose matches, I always feel like my first thought is always this is because we're not good enough tactically. We must have done something wrong tactically because we cannot lose so many games in a row with just aim. It just can't be true in my head. But then when I rewatched the games and I talked to my coach and he said, Lucas, you're actually doing a really good job as an in-game leader. It's not your fault, but the aim is not there. The individual mistakes is too many. And that is why you're losing. But for me, it can be really tough because I criticize myself a lot, especially when we're losing. And I always take the blame on myself. It's not if I'm having a good game, but if I'm having an average game, I always see it as it's my fault that we lost. So that can be pretty tough. So sometimes it could be good to review the game with the coach and with the players and say, okay, sometimes I can actually see, okay, it's not my fault. I'm actually winning a lot of rounds for my team. I can see that after the game sometimes, but I have a bad habit of only looking at my mistakes.
Well, you are the 4 times Lucas, so you're allowed to be mad at yourself sometimes. I had a question about the map pool. So with Astralis, you guys have always tactically avoided what was going to be the next permaban. Is this because you do work at Valve or know someone who works at Valve, or did you just really hate Mirage that much?
Actually, my uncle, it's Gaben. I wouldn't say it. I'm saying it now. I'm saying it now. I mean, it has been some kind of luck for us. I don't even understand how it was supposed to happen like this. But I don't know if it's like that we don't like the map that most people doesn't like. Like, could it be something like that? Because Valve removed the map that the players doesn't like the casual players as well, right? So maybe it's something to do like that. And we actually do see a lot of people saying minus Mirage right now. So Mirage could actually be the next one, and that would be pretty funny.
In terms of, desired updates, things you'd like to see, is a change to the competitive map pool at the top of that list for you?
Yeah, for sure. That's my number one.
Number
priority.
one?
Yeah, number one priority. I think that we have that, and I could see trying to make matches a bit shorter. I could see that being a good thing, but I think that will be that will be in the future if that's going to happen. That's not going to be right now because, some bigger people than me in the scene needs to be able to do something about it. I can't do it, but I think changing the max rounds or changing the time of the smoke and the Molotov and the round time could be something. I mean, sure. I think there's opportunities to do some different things.
All right, gla1ve, it's all on the line with the Showdown. There's no lower bracket here, and it's an important run to the spring finals. So what are your thoughts and general consensus? How do you think this one's going to go?
Yeah, Showdown. It's a big, important tournament. A lot of good teams in there. Astralis is not looking too well at the moment. I think we're going to have a hard time, to be honest. I don't see us going straight 2-0 just down the way and just winning every game. I mean, I think it's going to be tough for us. I need to be realistic, and we're not looking the best right now. And I'm still looking forward to play. I know we have been looking worse. No, we have not been looking worse than this. This is the worst we have been looking. We have been looking bad before, but we can somehow. I think we can find a better place.
gla1ve, I said this before, but I'm not going to let anybody call the end of Astralis, okay? When you say it's the end of Astralis, that's when it's the end of Astralis. I'm tired of listening to other people's predictions, so it's all on you. And the more humble you are coming into a tournament, the more scared I am, okay, for the other team. So don't worry.
I understand. I see what you mean. I need to, that was always my philosophy. I want to stay humble, but then it got too boring for me to stay humble. I wanted to be
No, your interviews are good. They're actually nice and edgy,
I wanted to have some edge, and I tried that, and every time I have that, we lose. So I need to go back to the humble way.
Listen, man, I think look at the end of the year. You guys had that ridiculous run of lower bracket events. You were always running it back. See the Showdown as the lower bracket of the entire Blast Spring series, and I think you guys might find that groove. Man.
Perfect perspective right there.
The final stage before the end.
Let's see it.
Yeah. Stop tweeting out creepy shit.
I'm just kidding.
You went from edgy to the guy with the hood on in the alleyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Profit. Okay, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate answering the questions.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. See you.
I guess maybe he is a prediction god. It's hard with him. Like you can't really tell when he's serious, when he's joking around, but obviously he sounded pretty he's always honest.
I feel like we kind of let him stew in that thought for a little bit, right? And that last statement, the final run before the end.
Yeah.
That's how he ends that interview. And little did we realize at the time, but it
was already over.
It was already over. Yeah. It was already over within it. And I mean, he even corrected himself, right? Like he's wanted to say we've looked worse before. Oh wait, no, actually this is the worst we've ever been. Damn. The final interview of Astralis before the end, Mohan. It sucks to hear gla1ve in that spot, but I also remember at the start of that interview, he's also, looking forward to being a father. He seemed optimistic about identifying their problems. He's mentioning that Zonic is in his ear saying it's not you, Lucas. It's the fact that some of this aim isn't necessarily on point. So maybe they have that in mind right now, Astralis, and maybe that's what's going to fuel their following roster changes.
Yeah. I mean, he's done it all. So it's not like it's more tragic when it's FaZe lose to Cloud9 and then make some roster moves because you're they almost got, they almost got everybody a major that should have had one for their whole careers. But like, it's just like, I don't know if there's any like single IGL out there that has no reason to be insecure about their like history as a player. It's gla1ve. It's the number one IGL in the history of the game. Most decorated, most accomplished. So it's almost hard to feel bad for him.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying? Like, he's literally beat the game. He's on a very short list of players who've actually beat the game, and anything they do at this point is a complete bonus.
I think there's a good bit of narratives and timelines and what ifs that have all been kind of created by this online. It's definitely like I feel like it's a filter. It was one of the great filters of Counter-Strike. I think looking back at it, I mean, we're
good and bad.
We're not out of it yet, but when we do look back at this period of Counter-Strike 3-4 years from now, I think that maybe some of the stories of the legends we crown between now and then, I think we will have this being a part of that like divergent path. It's left its mark, and Astralis did survive the online the first year of the online era. That to me is the big shame, is that we can see the light as of right now. The end of April 2021, we can see the end, the light at the end of the tunnel. We can see that LANs are on the horizon. If not crowds, at least LAN competition. At Astralis, they just didn't make it. They survived for so long. It's like they made the grueling trek back to the village. They were wounded in battle. They get all the way back, man.
Well,
and then on the front gate, they just flop over.
It's true.
It's like, damn.
Yeah, it's tough. You want them to hold it together. It's so much easier for us to stay disciplined about, holding our favorite teams and lineups together for until like LANs come back. But Xtaz talked about this, how people were saying the same thing for Vitality. Why don't you just hold out until LANs come back if you're all saying that you're going to be great LAN teams? And he just said it's not realistic. We're the ones who have to practice every day, and we want to perform for our orgs. And that, just saying we can't justify 5 months of bad results, knowing that we're going to be unhappy, and then going back to LANs and expecting everything to go back to normal. And the other thing was Dupree, in the interview with him, I guess, which is another thing that we, talked about in the future, was that he said that like he doesn't believe that any teams are going to fall off when we go back to LAN, meaning the teams that are falling off now will continue to struggle when we go back to LAN, and teams like Gambit, is what he was saying, are going to be insane when LANs are there. And I personally think there'll be a period of nervousness with Gambit, but there's no doubting how good they actually are fundamentally and individually. So eventually, they'll just be the team that practices 10 hours a day, and then the team that wins on LAN because they're that good, as long as there's no like nerves. But they've got Major Champion Hobbit on the team too to help them with that part.
He's there to pull another one on the belt. I think the big thing with going back to the LAN environment is going to be like, I don't doubt the skill of Gambit's players. I don't doubt the strategy of Gambit's players. There's the nervousness, and then additionally to that, it's like right now with the online era, you can sit in your house. They claimed that they practice more than everybody. Well, if we get back to a LAN circuit, we know that the big thing that's been removed from Counter-Strike is the travel demands.
Yeah.
You're suddenly not practicing as much as you can, as much as you choose to, if you're trying to attend every LAN event and traveling across the world at the same time.
True.
And that's something that, I think needs to be kind of recognized, that like Gambit themselves identify that as a part of their success strategy. And that piece of their strategy will be taken away from them unless they can maximize their success by doing what the great teams wanted to do before, which was being selective with the events they attend. If Gambit don't sacrifice their practice regime for the sake of getting all of the trophies that they possibly can attend, because there's going to be tons of invites when events come back around, right? Like when LANs can be a thing, they're going to be invited to everything. Why not? So I really hope for Gambit's sake that they strike that balance, because I think striking that balance will be the most profitable thing they can do in terms of, holding on to the form they have. Ding. 6th floor. Welcome to the elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is where we take 60 seconds to either defend or break down somebody's opinion. Okay? Today, we're talking about best maps, and more specifically, Mirage. Why is Mirage the best map? Or why is Mirage the worst map?
Which side do you want?
It's Mirage, so I want neither. I'm taking best map.
Why is Mirage the best map? Okay, I'll take why is Mirage the worst map? Okay, you have 60 seconds. Go.
Mirage is the best map because you have an incredibly open skybox across 3 separate lanes. 3 lanes that are very wide. Middle, nice amounts of control from a CT side, considering that all of the terrorists are funneled to the top, but it's at least that wide entrance. Yes, B site apartments has a bit of a narrower entrance, and that makes it, the smaller bomb site, the rock solid hold, but catwalk, again, a second avenue of attack. If you look at A site, much more wider, forward positioning. You've actually got cover on both bomb sites. You've got columns, hard cover. Things are wall bangable, but at the same time, certain positions are not. It requires executes on both bomb sites with smokes and Molotovs and tons of flank potential as well with that mid connector control / cat split. I think that Mirage is the best map because it has open spaces and the potential for flanks dynamically from both teams' launders. That's why I think Mirage is the best map.
Well, okay, that's all good points except you're being totally wrong because Mirage is the worst map, is actually the worst map because it's overplayed. Literally everyone's played this map so damn much that you hate to see it in vetoes. You can easily play 6 Mirage games in a day because of how often it ends up last map in the queue. If you're not the lobby leader, you don't get to vote on the map. You know the map's going to end up as Mirage on the off chance that it doesn't end up on an Inferno randomly because you've got some weirdo hipsters in the lobby or something like that. They want to play a different map, but they play too much Mirage. Most of the time, it's going to be Mirage. It's really annoying. Another thing is the clipping on the window is really annoying. Gets arc killed all the time trying to jump up into the window. That part is very awkward. I hate the new bench peak. Plus, also, to add on to that, the jungle smoke is strangely hard to throw properly. And if you don't throw it yourself, there's always going to be a little bit gap by the stairs. Someone's going to kill you planting opposite triple. And if you don't have a smoke, you can't plant on the A site. It's really annoying. Entering B sucks ass because of this bench and under the window crossfire. I hate that. Plus, there's that weird box peak in the back of the site. God, I hate this map.
Who do you believe more? Who's sold you? Make sure you guys let us know.
I was lying, by the way. I love Mirage.
Oh, I was lying as well. I hate Mirage.
It couldn't have worked out better then, yeah.
So there's the Mirage pitch, ladies and gentlemen. Minus Mirage plus Ancient. End of story. Go. GG next.
No. Where would we pug? Like, let's be honest. It's one of those things where if you take it out, where do we just pug? Where is the
Inferno.
main pug map? That is not a pug map. That is literally like the most sweaty fucking wait until 3 seconds. Scrawny sitting in halls waiting to catch a flank while you like want to rotate down. You can't rotate down mid with Scrawny on T side. You're so dead. You better go through CT saw and throw all the default grenades. And your B players are going to lose B because no one knows how to take bottom and out of control. That is not a replace. No, you're wrong. It's a third map, not a first. Not a best of 1 map.
9 of my last 10 pugs are all on Inferno. And I absolutely sweat in apartments every time. You're absolutely right. You know me. You know me too well. I don't know. We pug Vertigo? No, can't do that. We pug Ancient.
We could. I mean, you could pug Vertigo. I actually don't mind. I mean, yeah, it's.
You know what's good about Vertigo? The fact that people will learn to walk more.
Yeah, sure.
Vertigo's not a map you can play by sprinting at all times. So I think you have to be wary of the clock and wary of rotations, and that'll elevate players, I think, a little bit. That's one of the parts of Vertigo that goes like unnoticed or unappreciated.
Yeah, you like can't run at all basically because there's someone just like standing on your head the whole time.
So if you leave yourself in a position where you have to run, you've already failed.
What should we talk about next?
The Showdown review.
First of all, it was just so nice we had some games are blowouts because the Showdown and the nature of it, especially now that we're allowing teams to come through the qualifier. But we get like storylines like the extra salt storyline, and then we get also the Gambit and Heroic rematch. We get a lot of things that wouldn't have happened if not for open qualifiers, and some of these teams were invited as well. But it was fantastic overall, especially with the ending. And for us, we got a couple of games that were very one-sided, and then Heroic Gambit, boom, such a sick game. And just from a casting perspective, it was so nice to have such a very serious and like close and like intense game the whole way through. That really delivered. It's like whatever happens last is like what people remember the most. Agreed. And like what we remember as well. So yeah, it felt really good to have that final. It's always a blessing. It's like a season finale. You can't. It's super overrated to care too much about season finales, but they matter. Like you're gonna remember them. Yeah, you get excited for them, they're going to matter. So.
And in our case, it was like it's hot off of the heels of the Pro League result. So, I mean, that was the game where I have never seen Gambit as animated as during that revenge match, man. There was a couple of rounds on train where nafany was just almost angry, but it looked so good, and I loved it because think of Gambit. Have they won Pro League and qualified for the World Finals already, etc.? Like that was a huge game. And even with like micro instances of revenge as well. Kate, 2 knife kills coming in from Gambit the opposite direction this time around. It just felt like there was a good level of respectable, like respect, but also revenge on the line for that one. In hindsight, man, we did cast a lot of upsets. We casted the Dignitas over Liquid, which I think was a solid upset. There was no sign that Liquid were going to have an off event. And Dig kind of hit me out of nowhere. Big time. Heat peaks are real. Dignitas is real. 9Z over Vitality. 9Z.
Oh, that was
sick.
Yeah,
because map 1, we're all looking at Try. And it just really felt like the story of like a very talented young player from a region without
Argentina,
much team success, right? Like it's hard to break out if you are him. And it just felt like after the first map, like, okay, Try is not enough. He needs more. But at least we know this kid has talent and he's going to put himself on the radar. Like that I think that for most qualifying teams, like for Nasser, for example, no offense to any of those guys, but we didn't have a crazy breakout moment from any of them. And we don't know when we're going to see them on a stage of this size again. And for all we know, they could have a gem on that roster, but
they also might have looked better versus Vitality, 100%. Because Vitality didn't look great. Yeah. They had to play against Gambit, who were clearly just rock solid the whole way through.
With so much respect. Gambit played it as if that was a tier 1 opponent, and I honor that.
No, that's not true. That you lied.
Once we got to Vertigo.
I guess so.
The start of Dust 2, man, there was a couple cat pushes that shouldn't have been there. But they were defaulting
Shiro
properly.
had his deagle out like a million times.
Okay.
I specifically remember talking, you're lying right now. I remember talking about... Yeah, no, you're just talking to talk because you're a caster. I remember Shiro had his deagle out and was like, he was just re-peeking. Like, no, they didn't respect him. And they never got in the game. No, they got smoked. But I agree they would have looked, who knows how it
better versus
looked.
Vitality.
Versus Vitality, yeah.
But back to 9Z, what was nice was that after the first map, it wasn't just Try.
Yeah, Max.
Our boy Max came on. Watching Max and Try play A site overpass CT side, that fueled my soul, Launders. That's my favorite position. That's my favorite. Watching that dynamic between the two of them was so much fun. And so to me, 9Z was like one of the biggest talking points. Yeah, okay, a wounded Vitality is one thing. But it's not easy by any means, man.
Oh, yeah.
And within that, we also had that same series being RPK's last with Vitality. And, I think in hindsight, the device roster move kind of overshadows this, but that series did not make me believe that RPK is the guy who needs to step down from Vitality. RPK looked fantastic. RPK has
it's Zywoo. He was the lowest rated player on the server.
Get him out. Get him out. Yeah, I think we're going to forget that RPK kind of walked away here, but I'm still not over that one, man.
Sucks.
Yeah, rip Vitality's run at the spring finals. Rip a lot of teams, man. No Vitality, no Team Liquid, and no Astralis, all on the same side of the bracket. To think that G2, if you looked at that side of the bracket with Astralis, Vitality, G2, Liquid, 9Z, Spirit. Spirit to me was the dark horse on that side. Like we knew that, forever living in the shadow of Gambit. But on the opposite side of the bracket, like there was a chance where here at the Showdown, we had Spirit and Gambit moving forward. Like they could, there's one spot per side of the bracket at the Showdown, 2 qualifier spots for the spring finals. It kind of felt like that was meant to be. And then we end up getting the Spirit in the finals, which I kind of expected, but who would have been their opponent? I honestly didn't expect G2.
They got lucky.
I wasn't
G2
impressed.
got lucky. I've never seen a tournament run like this before. It was worse than Cloud9 winning Boston. They got so lucky. They had that weird tech pause situation on the third map versus OG in that first series, but they got there, whatever. And then versus Spirit, I mean, Chopper just had the worst map of his entire career out like all at once. Yeah. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 rounds across the map where it was incredibly important and pivotal positions. And he was actually positionally in a great spot. and then just fluffed the spray so hard that it was like completely unacceptable, and you knew exactly where he was at. He was mentally, he knew he was going to lose the duel before it came. He had no confidence when the P came out. He was given a few seconds, started whiffing a few bullets, and then he knew he f***ed it. And then Jax headshotted him, and then Almanac headshotted him, then Nico headshotted him, and G2 somehow, with like no time on the clock, running into a bad site, whatever, pushing ramp, won the round, and then eventually won the map. And that's how they won. And then next is like, guys, we were just feeling it the whole time. Everything was just the stars aligned. He didn't see it from our perspective. It was just Chopper had, seriously, I've never seen anything like that. Such important and pivotal positions over and over again, and just consistently, could not get that spray together. Just a horrible day. I just feel terrible because like that's not who Chopper is. He's a great player. That was just that was the worst day happening at the worst time. So unfortunate.
If Spirit, or when Spirit watch back that game, if they watch that back together, like he's gonna have to sit there with those 4 other sets of eyes, and they're all gonna see it's glaring. Yeah. It was glaringly obvious that he
never
was
watch your demos together. Never watch your demos together. That's actually horrible. Yeah. One of my teams actually broke up because we just tried to watch. We didn't even get past the 5th round, and then we were in TeamSpeak arguing about like each other's decisions for like 3 hours, and then we disbanded. So don't do that. Yeah. But especially if you're Chopper, don't do that right now.
I guess the only real thing to talk about at the end of the showdown here is kind of on that road of G2, and I think give me your thoughts, man. OG with Flames,
they're insane.
The Backstreet Boys of Counter-Strike at the moment,
dude. They're the most handsome, talented, lovable. It's like they got 2 direct upgrades from ISA and MBK. They're already proving that they're like really, really strong. They got almost moneyballed this team. They got everybody as is like a bunch of top tier misfits basically. And then Montu was just an incredible star for his rookie year opping. Who knows how good he's going to get on the op. And then Flamesy, who was the only person that I purported as a good roster move for OG, and then somehow that ends up happening. I couldn't have been more happy myself. Like I was like, they need some up and coming star aggressive rifler, and we know OG are not going to spend tons of money on a player. Like Flames would be an amazing pick if they can get him from Endpoint. Somehow this happens, and it's just as I thought it would be in terms of like how good he's. We all know Flamesy's amazing. Like he is super strong, and he's just been that player. Yep. And in fact, he put down like the 40 plus kill game versus Astralis or something. Been nothing but insane. Like the whole team makes a lot of sense. They got Nico in some weird situation where there was clearly not a performance issue with him on Heroic. They got some strong, smart riflers. Yep. They upgraded from MBK and ISA in terms of court IQ as well as firepower. ISA was not hitting shots. MBK was not consistent. OG stonks are through the roof. I mean, people used to laugh at me for the OG picks.
Not anymore.
Yeah, times have changed. I'm laughing now.
Early adopter too, man. Yeah. So hang on. It's time for hot takes.
That was really good. That was insane. Okay. Hot takes. All right. I'm going to just shoot out a couple of hot takes here. nafany is going to be the first player cut from Gambit.
Oh.
Or sorry, not nafany. Inters.
Okay. You want to try that again?
Inter is going to be the first player cut from Gambit.
It's possible. It's possible. I'm gonna. Okay. Yes. Sure. If it happens, if somebody gets cut from Gambit, it could be Inters. It should be Inters. But I have a hotter take.
Okay.
The next big shocking roster move.
Yes.
Will be NaVi poaching nafany.
Never. It won't happen. I don't think Gambit will sell him, and I don't think nafany will want to go, so I don't think it's possible.
Okay, hold on. Let me come at this from a different angle.
Okay.
NaVi will poach one of the IGLs from the current 3 upcoming CIS teams: Spirit, Gambit, or Virtus.pro. Okay.
There's no good options there. Who would they take?
What if they took Jame?
They can't take Jame. They have Simple and Jame on the same team. Who the hell is buying all these ops?
That's true.
They need two Sanjis.
2 Sanjis
to save for these ops.
Double Sanji on the sideline.
By the end of this year, Mouse will be a top 7 team.
Ooh, not without massive overhauls.
With no roster changes.
With no roster changes, this
I
version
believe
of Mouse Sports is top 7. That's what you're saying?
This is super hot. Yeah, that means they moved 10 spots up. In my opinion,
wrong.
That's a sensor. In my opinion, this is on paper a really good lineup. The only question mark is BMass, I think. Roles wise, Dexter as an IGL fragging. He was fragging today, 96 ADR versus G2. A-Core, Rops, I have no questions about this team. I think they're going to be sick. They have a good composition. And right now, it's not looking amazing, but I think they get better.
I don't think A-Core stays on Mouse Sports. I think Astralis that's the device replacement, in my opinion. That's what I'm expecting.
Actually, maybe that's true, but
maybe it's true.
Okay. I'm sure Pimp would agree.
Complexity will win Blast Spring Finals, or at least be in the finals alongside Gambit.
That's not a hot take because they always win Spring Finals.
It's their event.
They're really good at Spring Finals. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm not going to buzz you on that because that's pretty good. Oh man, this is too hot. Okay,
say it.
FaZe will be top 4 at the major. It's not that hot. I was.
No, I gotta let that slide. Yeah, okay.
I had him at a dark horse for winning the event before they'd even played together. Just like on paper, like this, with twists and everything. But yeah, now I tempered that a bit. But I think
let me repackage that and throw it back at you.
Okay.
Do FaZe have the potential to win the spring finals, seeing as that is upcoming in about 1 month's time?
Yes.
So
yes.
Okay.
FaZe will win the spring finals.
I feel like I put those words in your mouth.
Can I just say OG will win the major then? I'll just say that then. I'll just say that.
Okay, you're not. No. You're not allowed to get away with that one, dude. I think OG could play well at the major. Don't get me wrong. I think like top 8 potential.
Heap joins Nip. Ooh.
I like that one.
Sheesh.
Rops joins Nip. No?
He's not joining every team.
Well, who else is he going to join?
He's not going anywhere because his Mels are going to be top 4.
Okay, that one changes things. I can't believe you have. I mean, to me, if Nip can buy device, they can buy anybody. But I suppose the lifestyle. There
was a special circumstances though, the contract ending and stuff.
For
device.
Yep. Give me a hot take that involves Big, please.
Big are going to get much worse and then make a roster move.
Okay. I'm gonna let that one slip.
I hope no one listens to this podcast. I feel very comfortable to speak my mind.
So, folks, that's it. First episode of the Push to Talk podcast. I enjoyed myself, and I hope you guys did as well. But of course, seeing as this is the first one, we're super open to the feedback. Please get at us. Tell us where to improve. Tell us what you loved. Tell us what you hated. And we'll be sure to come back with the next episode, thanks to EPOS, soon enough with all of those improvements in mind, guys. Thank you for listening. This has been Scrawny and Launders with Blast Push to Talk.